Hola Pushers, it's your girl Candace Nicole, where we're here to push to glow, gain lessons of wisdom. I am a life coach. I am not just a life coach, I am the life coach that you love. So today I wanted to discuss stop trying to convince yourself to others. But before I get into that, my setup is different. Anytime my setup is different, that means I'm in some sort of traveling. So I am visiting family in my hometown, Ohio, and that's that. Sometimes you just need to get away. So let's lead into the topic, right? Which is what I want to correlate together. When you get to a point where you feel like you are trying to convince people to see your point of view, to be on board with what you desire, needing validation, or wanting people's support, that does not do you any good when you are trying to focus on attaining that desire. I had a situation where I felt confident. I was very confident at what I had my eyes set on the goal. And then I started to share little details about it. And I was met with the opposition, discouragement. And I let it feed into me, knowing I knew better. And this is where I say you don't have to be perfect, because we're human, right? But when I left that social group, I was so drained. I was so filled with now being discouraged. I started saying to myself, is this even worth pursuing? Am I good enough? Is this possible? Anything that you can name that was negative was beating down my mental door, and I let it in. I welcomed it, knowing in the back of my mind I knew better. I was telling myself, it doesn't matter what they think, only you have the power and the control. But I still let it bother me. I felt defeated. I felt like my old self was winning. Like, yeah, I'm back. You thought you got rid of me? Girl, I know you better than you. So who are you fooling, girl? That's how my old self used to talk to me. And I would let her win. I would feel depressed. I'll be sad. I'll isolate. I didn't feel worthy. And then after I built my self-confidence back up, my faith, I felt more empowered. I felt more in control. I felt like untouchable. And I like that feeling too. I like that new girl who I was becoming, because I seen the difference of the turnaround time of not only how I felt, but how things would just unfold to me. So in this instance, with all the work that I put into myself of being aware, of having healthy boundaries within myself to not be affected, I was triggered. My old self was winning, period. And I gave myself grace. I let myself cry it out. I let the negative girl who I was familiar with, I let her talk. And then I went to sleep to quiet my mind, to see if I would wake up feeling different. But when I woke up, did not feel any different. I felt even more heavy. I felt disappointed in myself that I even allowed myself to get to that point. And I started to beat myself up in that direction. Like, girl, you know better. What are you doing? I felt like all the work I put into myself was gone. Like I was just back to square one. So I took another nap to see if those feelings would subside. When I woke back up again, I was feeling even more disappointed in myself. And I said, I need some type of distraction. I don't care what it is. But today is a mental day for me, whatever that looks like. And I called off of work to get myself back grounded again. And I was like, whatever this day looks like, whatever feels good to me is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to pressure myself. And so I started packing my bags. And I was just like, I'm just going to take a drive. I don't care where I go. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going home anyway. So let me go home. And I can clear my mind, however I feel, whether I want to listen to music, I don't care. I'm not going to overthink this. I'm just get the ball rolling, just start moving. And I started to feel relief on my drive, but not 100%. But I felt definitely the energy shift for sure. And so I started to talk positively. The new self, the new girl. And I was like, okay, you're feeling better. You're recognizing you're feeling better. So that means you got this. You don't have to be 100% positive, girl. All hokey dokey and butterflies and rainbows, balloons. But recognize that in this moment that you are allowing yourself to talk better. And I gently kept telling myself that I'm going to be okay. And so when I got to my destination, I was like, I'm just going to take a shower, go to bed. And when I woke up the next day, I felt in the middle. But to me, I knew that was progress. And so I got in the mirror and I was in a space, a mental space at that moment to where I can have more positive talk. And so I got in that mirror And I looked at myself and I said, girl, we will not lose. Because in this moment right now, we're choosing something different. We're choosing having faith instead of keep drowning in sorrow, what we're used to doing. You got this. You got this. You got this. And I repeated that over and over again. And I felt myself getting teary-eyed, but I knew that that was a shift because I was having more faith in the new girl. And I said, girl, you are good enough. You are more than enough. And so I started working, went about my day, and then I got good news. I got good news of one of my desires. And at that moment when I got that good news, I was like, whoa. I don't know how to feel because I just was such in a distraught place not too long ago. But because I chose differently, to not beat myself up over and over again about it, and I just naturally went through the emotions, and because I started to not, like convince myself immediately like it wasn't happening, but just being gentle with myself in that moment and giving myself grace. Look at that turnaround. I was honoring myself. I was honoring my truth. And this is what I am trying to put it all together for you guys. Stop letting other people's opinions affect you. To the point where you are now feeling like you cannot do anything. To a point where you feel like things cannot turn around for you. People's opinions do not matter. It really doesn't. Only you matter. What you do with that information matters. And I wanted to share that testimony because a lot of us do that. We let a lot of people tell us our worth and think it really matters when it don't. It's about what you do with it. So change your perspective. It's not about what they're saying. It's about how do you react to it. And that's where the gift of winning comes from. So you don't have to prove yourself to people. Because you're going to get what you want anyway. The power is in with you. The faith is in with you. So how are you going to now react moving forward when you are met with the opposition? People are going to have their opinions anyway, but what's important is now how you react to those moments moving forward. And that's where the true strength relies in your belief. So start having new habits and be completely authentic in your vulnerability so you can create room for better habits moving forward. Stop putting the power in other people and their words. And put the power back within yourself. And that's what I wanted to discuss today, guys. You guys know the deal. Remember to spread the love. And take care.